Is it time to reveal your real magic and become seen, known, and valued? Welcome to this week's Visionary Voices Deep Dive Live. Hi, if we haven't met before, if you're new here, I am Aargh Aiken, deep dive visibility mentor working on the deep visibility blocks and activating your visibility superpowers so you can show up and share your wisdom with those who need to hear it. So if you're here watching me live, pop in and say hello. And if you're watching replay, type in replay. It's lovely to have you here with us, joining us. So today we are talking about the deep roots of visibility blocks. And this is a topic that I love, that's been part of my work for many years. And it's something that comes up all the time with my clients and in my group participants. And I just, felt called to go even deeper with it here in this group with you. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the deep and ancient roots of visibility blocks, which are often not fully seen, or the impact isn't fully understood, and the impact that they have on us, on you, as you're trying to step out and share your wisdom, especially if you're a soulful business owner, creative transformation leader. This is particularly relevant for you. I'm also going to be talking about what shifts for you when you can heal or hold space for these wounds, these deep roots and blocks, and also to share some powerful tools for holding a safe space for these wounds and your wisdom to surface. Because the great thing is that when we heal these deep ancient blocks, we also reclaim our power, our magic, our voice, our wisdom at the same time. So it's a very powerful process. I'm very excited by it. So share with me, if you're here, what is your experience around this? What is it that you're already in touch with, or what is it around this topic that really speaks to you? I'd love to hear your experience. But as we're going to be touching on some deep areas today, I want to invite you into just a deepening of your awareness. So whether you're watching this live or watching this on the replay, if you're in a place where it's safe, where it's possible to do so, just take a moment to center yourself, to breathe your awareness deeper into your heart, and to really step into this sense of feeling like you're a tree and you have deep roots growing down into the earth, and your awareness is deep into your body and your roots are going deep into the earth, and just sensing that deep groundedness and safety, that your roots are deep and they're wide and they're holding you up. And also expanding your awareness out into the room, like the branches of a tree, knowing that you can take up space here. This is a safe place for you to take up space. So just expanding out your energy and knowing that you can receive, just like the tree receives the light of the sun and the rain, nourishing it, you can receive all the energy and the wisdom you need from the universe that's surrounding you, that's supporting you. So just really feel that. You might want to move your body as you let your energy shift into this deeper place. And then we can imagine that, we're here in a forest, and all of the trees, we are reaching our energy out to each other, deeply connected to ourselves, deeply connected to the source of life, and then deeply connected to each other, creating a safe container together for this deep dive that we're going to do today. So thank you, just creating a safe space and shifting into our powerful, loving selves is really important for all visibility activities, and especially when we're diving in to deep topics that might touch on parts of you that are tender. Because visibility is not a mindset issue. It's deeper than that. It's beyond that, and it's beyond just the emotions that we carry from our life, significant though they are. So, and it's not easy. If you've been struggling to show up with your visibility, it's not just you. There are so many of us that struggle with this. So let me know your experience about this. What's your experience with showing up and being visible? Because it's a journey for the incredibly brave to really get clear on what's your unique message that you're here to bring, which is the most wonderful thing to share, and then to step out and to share that in the face of what could be rejection or ridicule, getting it wrong, imperfection. So it requires, I know the people here in my community and watching this, you are the brave ones, the committed ones, incredible people that I get to hang out with. So what are the deep ancient roots of visibility blocks? So these are blocks that are older than we are. They've been handed down through the generations, from parent to child. They're in our cells, they're in our DNA, and they can also be in our souls as well. So sometimes they're ancestral blocks, and sometimes they're soul memories, past life blocks as well. They can be family lineage patterns, they can be soul memories. The three levels of the visibility blocks are the personal, so the mindset, personal trauma, limiting beliefs, stuff from our experience in this lifetime. And it's easy to see how, what we receive from our parents and they received from their parents gets passed on into the personal level that we often work on, the mindsets, the childhood trauma, or wounds or limiting beliefs. But often the roots go deeper than that. They go deeper into these intergenerational trauma as well. And when you energetically address them on that level, the ripple effect is so much more powerful. It's very, very powerful. And we also have collective beliefs that also get passed down. So these are the socialized patterns, what's acceptable. So there are collective patterns, and blocks for women, for people of color, for indigenous peoples, for people, who are spiritual versus the scientific. So there's also those collective levels as well. So these blocks are multi-layered. But what I've noticed is that, not everybody is working on these, deep collective and ancestral soul levels. And some of the trauma, the blocks that are actually carried in our energetic level is things like the wounds of people like the rebels and the free thinkers. So that might be the heretics, like the Cathars in southern France, who were completely wiped out because they were a very spiritual people and they evolved a different form of spirituality to the dominant church at the time. There's also the mystics. There might be like somebody like Jesus was persecuted because he was a powerful leader who wasn't following the traditional Judaism line. So those kinds of peoples have been persecuted for a long time. And then for many of us, what's even more present is the witch wound. So what came after that is this silencing and literal demonization of women in Europe in the Middle Ages. And when I say literal demonization, the authorities, the church at the time and the authorities were literally putting it out there that these wise women, these community healers that have been working for hundreds and hundreds of years to be their local doctors, their family doctors, saying that they were literally fornicating with the devil. And the interesting thing is that this character called the devil didn't really exist before this time. At that time, there were many kind of demons that would, maybe try and tempt you and try and influence you. But this all-powerful single figure called the devil actually didn't exist before this time. So there was this literal demonization of women, which created so much fear in the population. And they then got blamed for if a child died, if a cow got sick, it was literally pointed and blamed at these wise women because they had a lot of power in their community, because people would go to them. If people were sick, they would go to them. There wasn't other doctors and physicians available at that time. So there was an awful lot of redirection of the trust that the community have had in these people to create all these fear-based mass psychosis, really, because it was kind of crazy what they were saying, but they just kept saying it off and off until people believed it, to direct all of this anger. And then there was betrayal, there was attacks, there was, telling, on your neighbor, and often leading to the torture and often the death of these wise people. And similar but different strategies were used for the native peoples in the Americas, and this was happening in the Middle Ages at the same time as well. There was a demonization of the native and natural wisdom that they had as well. When they wiped out enough native peoples, particularly in Central and Southern America, that's when they needed more labor force, and they brought in the slaves from Africa. That was the beginning of the slave trade. Again, all happening around the same time, and a lot of those African peoples had their native wisdom and natural wisdom, which also got demonized and called, voodoo and devil, and all of that as well. So there's a lot in our history, and I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment as what is it that you know about this as well. Let me see if I can see the comments here. Yeah, so let me know, what's your experience, what's your awareness of this as well, because the impact of this, it gets internalized, it gets passed down through many generations, and it gets internalized into our system, and it becomes what I have come to call the frozen one. And the frozen one is the part of it that literally freezes, that goes into paralysis, or when we think about showing up and sharing our voice, or that leads to procrastination, to distraction, to let me browse on social media, let me binge watch in unhealthy ways on Netflix. I want to create this, but whenever I go to sit to create it, I just get frozen. And it can lead to such massive anxiety, and also, depression, this frustration at not sharing your wisdom, not following your purpose, getting caught up in all of these things that don't nourish you, and not moving forward, with your business and reaching more people. So I'd love to hear, what's your experience of this? Share in the comments, what's your experience of the frozen one? How does that show up for you, and what happens when the frozen one shows up for you? Understanding the roots of where it comes from. So I wanted to share a poem with you here that really speaks to this experience, especially for the persecution and the silencing of women. It's called a Liberation by Abina Busia, who's an African poet. And as I speak the poem, just let it wash over you like music. Just, breathe and receive, and just notice what stirs in you as you receive these words. We are all mothers, and we all have that fire within us of powerful women whose spirits are so angry we can laugh beauty into life and still make you taste the salt tears of our knowledge. We are all mothers, and we have that fire within us of powerful women whose spirits are so angry we can laugh beauty into life and still make you taste the salt tears of our knowledge. For we are not tortured anymore. We have seen beyond your lies and disguises. We have seen beyond your lies and disguises, and we have mastered the language of words. We have mastered speech. We are not tortured anymore. We have seen beyond your lies and disguises, and we have mastered the language of words. We have mastered speech. And no, we have also seen ourselves raw and naked, piece by piece, until our flesh lies flayed with blood on our own hands. And known, we have seen ourselves raw and naked, piece by piece, until our flesh lies flayed with blood on our own hands. What terrible thing can you do to us which we have not done to ourselves? What can you tell us which we didn't deceive ourselves with a long time ago? What terrible thing can you do to us which we have not done to ourselves? What can you tell us which we didn't deceive ourselves with a long time ago? You cannot know. You cannot know how long we cried until we laughed over the broken pieces of our dreams. You cannot know how long we cried until we laughed over the broken pieces of our dreams. Ignorance shattered us into such fragments. We had to unearth ourselves piece by piece to recover with our own hands such unexpected relics. Even we wondered how we could hold such treasure. Ignorance shattered us into such fragments. We had to unearth ourselves piece by piece to recover with our own hands such unexpected relics. Even we wondered how we could hold such treasures. And that's what we're doing. This is what this work is. This is of recovering the deep roots of the visibility blocks. We are unearthing ourselves piece by piece. We are recovering with our own hands the unexpected relics, the treasure that lies in the dungeons, because when we heal those wounds, we reclaim the magic that was buried underneath the frozenness. Yes, we have conceived to forge our mutilated hopes into the substance of our visions, beyond your imaginings, to declare the pain of our deliverance. Yes, we have conceived to forge our mutilated hopes into the substance of visions beyond your imagining. We are imagining the new earth into being, to declare the pain of our deliverance. So do not even ask. Do not ask what it is we're laboring with this time. Dreamers remember their dreams when they are disturbed, and you shall not escape what we will make of the broken pieces of our lives. Dreamers remember their dreams when they are disturbed, and you shall not escape what we will make of the broken pieces of our lives. So that poem is Liberation by Abina Busia. And I'll just share that into the comments here. So such a powerful and hard-hitting poem. Hi, Susan, lovely to see you here. Yes, Susan saying depression for not sharing my wisdom. Yes, the most heavy part of it all is its different forms of manifestation. Gorgeous. Thank you for sharing that, Susan. So what shifts for you when you can hold space to heal these wounds? And I'd love to hear your experience around this, because I know if you're here in my community, you may have done some of this work already, and I'd love to hear that. I know for me, really healing the witch wound inside me, the tortured witch in the dungeon who would often get so frozen and so terrified when it came to stepping forward. That enabled me to make a big commitment to really play all out, to show up, consistently, and overcome this just massive wall of resistance. It took a lot of energy to do that. It took a lot of support and holding and creating safety. And I'll talk about that in a little while. For some of my clients, one who couldn't do Facebook Lives because she was so terrified of, being betrayed or what would happen if people saw her. We uncovered the deep witch wound, where that happened. She was betrayed by her community, and saw herself being burned at the stake. We healed that. And in one session, she was no problem with Facebook Lives and able to show up and really share her deepest magic and wisdom. And another client who was stuck moving forward 3 years with her branding, choosing her colors, her logo, or getting clear on her message, doing this deep work to really hold space and also to reclaim her magic, freed up that energy. And she's like, yeah, that's all go, moving forward with that now after 3 years being stuck with her branding. So powerful. Another client who was really healing the frozen one and had such trouble speaking, would swallow her words and hold back a lot of what she wanted to say for fear of being attacked. This really ancient fear that she would literally get shot with arrows, with hatred, with rejection, and freeing that up so she was able to speak and share her work. So many examples I could share. It's such a powerful thing. So working on this deep level really makes a difference. And Lizetta is sharing frozen because I was unsure about my wisdom and let somebody overpower me because their voice was louder or they were quicker to take the space. Beautiful, Lizetta, and I can know how powerful your voice is. Hi, Brad, nice to see you here. But Lizetta, you're really showing up as a visionary leader in your work now. So doing this work and keeping on doing it as the layers come up, because, we are in times when demonization is back. Demonization is back. There is an energy in our current times that is a resurfacing of other tyrannies that we've experienced, and that can trigger new levels of fear. So creating space, safety for ourselves, for each other, is a big thing as well. So the final point here is, what are the tools that you can use? Hi, Wendy, lovely to see you here. What are the tools you could use for holding a safe space for your wounds and your wisdom to surface, to reclaim this? And this goes beyond mindset. It goes beyond limiting beliefs. It even goes beyond holding space for the inner child, important as those things are, really, really important. But we need to go deeper than that for these particular wounds. But, what I want to say is that it doesn't have to be hard. transformation happens inside the right conditions. The frozen one will melt when the safety is present, when the space can be held for that as well. So this lack of safety is a huge issue. And one of the things that really shifts it is to be able to generate our own safety rather than waiting until we feel safe, is how to generate our own safety. And one of the keys for that is compassion, is tenderness, is, learning the skill of how to activate our powerful, loving self who can hold space for the wounded parts in us as well, with presence, with kindness, with tenderness. And this is why it's beyond mindset, because our minds can't do that. This has to be done in our energy, in the body. And, when I, work with clients, I use the energy work and transformational coaching to do this, but also, poetry can help us do this as well. And just being able to kind of create that inner safety. So it could be imagining yourself surrounded by beings of love in a beautiful, safe and sacred place, creating your own inner energetic temple that's only open to the people that you choose, who can come energetically enter your space. That's very, very powerful. You can also bring your wounded parts into, a healing chamber so that they can receive the healing that they need. You can, reach out. There are people like me who can really comfortable at holding space for these deep wounds and can guide you through that territory if that's something that you need. So, and what I love about, poetry is that it can hold space to both surface the wounds and to bring that empowered, loving compassion to it, like that poem that I shared today as well. It's like it's naming the wound, and it's also saying, yeah, I see you, I hold space for you, and I'm moving through it as well. It's really, poetry is one thing that can, it can hold it all, the grit of our humanness, these wounds, and the grace of our vastness. So it brings in the parts that can hold it all. And that's exactly what we need when we're stepping out to, being visible with these as well. So these parts had to go into hiding. It wasn't safe in the past, but we can bring them into the present and create a new experience. So through our presence, through our empathy. So I'd love to hear from you. What's your experience with this as well? And how do you bring your powerful, loving self to hold the wounded parts of you? And how deep have you had to go? Or do you sense you might have to go with your visibility blocks or other things that hold you back? So I'd just love to finish with the beautiful, inspiring poem by Maya Angelou. Both of these poems that I've shared today are by Black women who have, been through a lot. They've been through the slavery wounds, and also, the wounds for the suppression of women as well. And I love Maya Angelou. She's so inspiring. So this is Still I Rise, Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like tides, with the certainty of tides, just like the hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders folding down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear. I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you, Maya Angelou. And what I love about this poem is that it names the pain and the hope and possibility, both at the same time. And this is just the energy that we need. And a poem like that can shift your energy when you're in a dark place without bypassing this. It's like, yeah, this is here. And, you know, I can rise, I can get support. If this has, triggered something for you, if this is something you feel you need support with, just message me and we can set up a chat. I offer free visibility breakthrough sessions and a chat to see if you need support and if I can offer you that support. I don't want you to feel alone. There are other great people out there doing this as well. So just keep sharing your insights, share your takeaways from this. What does it confirm that you already know? What are the new insights that are arising from this? And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye for now.